डॉक्टर बाबासाहेब आंबेडकर ओपन यूनिवर्सिटी.
Namaskar dear students, myself Zeel Sagar Shah, working as an assistant professor in School of Computer Science in Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University. Welcome to the lecture series of Object Oriented Programming using C++, in which we are in the Unit 7 Functions in C++ Part 3. In last lecture, you have studied about categories of function, how function has to be declared, defined or called in our program. Now we will see the other functions in C++. Let's see today's unit in detail. So our today's agenda is inline functions, function overloading, default arguments, macros or macro function. Let's see inline functions first. What is inline function? An inline function is a function that expanded in line when it is invoked. That is, the compiler replaces the function call with the corresponding function code. So how does our inline function works? When you invoke inline function, the compiler attempts or replace the function call with the code of the function. So this is done during the compilation time, and the code is directly substituted into the calling function, so which can reduce the overhead of function calls. However, it is important to note that the compiler is free to ignore the inline keyword if the function is too complex or the compiler determines the complexity of the function is large. For example, if I have any loop or any cases or any conditional statements, then compiler will ignore our inline keyword in our program. So let's see how inline function example works. So first we will see what is the syntax of inline functions. Inline, the keyword and the function name and the parameter list or arguments and the function body. So let's see the example of inline function. So in inline function, the prototype is must. First of all, we have to declare our function globally, that is int multiply, and what is the parameter data type? Int. So in int main, I have int x, cout enter input value, and in scene x, after that what I supposed to see out, the output is multiply x. So what is multiply x? We will see. So over here I have declared inline int multiply, then int x1. So over here I have defining the inline function, that is multiply, and in that I am returning 5 into x1. So whenever I try to compile this program, what I will get is 25, because my value of input value is 5 and output is 25. So now let's see function overloading. Two or more functions can have the same name but different parameters. Such functions are called function overloading. So the two functions with same name will differ at least in one of the following. That is, either the number of the parameters are different, or the data type of parameters are different, or the order of appearance are different. So let's see example of function overloading. I have included 3 functions over here. Let's see one by one. First, I have included one add function which has 2 parameters, that is int a and int b, and that parameters has integer data type, and I am returning a plus b. Second, I have overloaded the second function which has the same name, that is add, and over here I have 3 integers, that is int a, int b and int c. So this is the second type of our function overloading. In first I have 2 integers, and in the second function I have 3 integers, and in the third function I have changed the data type of the parameters, that is float a and float b. And over here also the data type, the returning function data type is also different, that is float add, float a, float b, and I am returning a plus b. So when I run this program, what I will get is 868. Why? In sum 1 I am calling the first function, that is add int a and int b, that is 5 and 3. In second line I am calling the second function, that is add int a, int b and int c, and in the third line I am calling the third function, that is add 3.5f and 4.5f. I hope you know why f is written, because the data type of that parameters are float data type, and I'm storing all these functions in a same data type which is returning in that functions, that is float sum 3. Why float sum 3? Because I have taken the third function which has float add, that's why. So let's see default arguments. What is default arguments? Default values are specified when the function is declared. So compiler looks at the prototype to see how many arguments function uses. Default arguments are useful in situation where some arguments always have the same value. For example, if I want to get the area of my circle, then the pi value always have the same value in all the programs, that is 3.14. So the syntax of default arguments are return type, then function name, and the parameter 1 default value, parameter 2 default value. Let's see the example of default argument. So over here I have declared double calculate area, in which I have double length and double width. Width has a default argument, that is 5.0, and what is returning length into width. Compile this program, what I will get is, at first I will get 50 and at second I will get 30. Why? Because in double area 1 I am calculating area at 10 and it will take default value as 5, and in the second line calculate area 10 and 3. So I have provided that 10 is my length and 3 is my width. So if I forgot to, or if somehow I miss to declare the with value, then it will automatically take 5.0. And now I hope you get the difference between the default value and the user provided values. Now I hope you remember the concept of function overloading over here also, because calculate 10 first function and second function having two arguments. So there are some points which has to be remembered while we write default arguments. What are that points? Let's see. Default arguments are assigned from right to left in the parameter list. If a parameter list with a default argument appears before a parameter without one, the code will cause a compilation error. What this means? Let's see the example of it. For example, if I have void example, a function name which has int a is equal to 5 and int b, then this will give me an error. Why? Because always default arguments start from right to left, not left to right. I hope now you get the idea about default arguments. Let's see the last topic of this lecture, that is macro or macro functions. What is macros? Macros are defined using the hash defined directive, and they can be either the simple constants or more complex macro functions that perform calculations or other operations. What are the types of macros in C++? Types of macros, that is object like and function like, and predefined macros. So let's see types of macros. Object like macros. These are simple macros that are replaced with a value or a piece of code. For example, hash defined pi 3.14, and this is globally done in our program. So we can use pi in various parts of our program. And function like macros, these macros take arguments and are replaced with an expression or code that involves those arguments. For example, hash define square x. So this is a function x in which I have x into x, that is square of the x. Let's see the example of both this. What I have done over here, I have defining pi as my constant macro, and I just simply printing the pi value, that is pi 3.14159. Example of macro function. So what I'm doing over here is I have defined square function, that is square x, and what I am doing over here, x into x. So in int main I have declared one variable, that is int number is equal to 5, and what I want to do is I want to square of that number. So simply cout square then num. Num over here is replaced with num into num, that is square of 5 is 25. We will see in the next lecture about the classes in detail. I hope you get the concepts of today's lecture. Thank you for watching the video.